Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to look at the chapter of evolution, eighth chapter, and this chapter is Evidences and Theories of Biological Evolution. Now, before we go into the new topic of evolution, I would like to connect you with what happened in the previous or seventh chapter of Origin of Life. We concluded in the last chapter that the liberation or the release of free oxygen in the atmosphere resulted in the change of the reducing atmosphere of primitive Earth to the oxidizing atmosphere. With the liberation of free oxygen in the atmosphere, conditions suitable for aerobic respiration established upon the Earth, presumably about 27 million years ago. With the above change in the conditions on the Earth, more and more complex life forms came from the microscopic prokaryotes, which were unicellular. Now, as we look at the eighth chapter, first of all, what is evolution? Evolution is a slow and continuous process whereby complex forms of life have emerged or come from simpler forms through millions of years. Today, the diversity of plants and animal forms ranges from simple, single celled organisms to many kinds of plants on one side and animals, including man, on the other. Now, let us come to the next step of seeing the evidences of evolution in chapter 8. We find several evidences of evolution which can be drawn from various sources. The first one is evidences from paleontology. The second is evidences from morphology and anatomy. The third is evidences from embryology. The fourth is evidences from cell biology and biochemistry. The fifth is molecular, which is genetic evidences. The sixth and the last one is evidences from geographical distribution. Let us understand the 6 evidences one by one to prove the process of evolution. Let us look at number 1, the evidences from paleontology. Now, what is paleontology? Paleontology is the study of life of the past as recorded by fossil remains of plants and animals. These fossils were mostly found embedded in the sedimentary rocks. Now, what is fossilization? The process of preservation of living beings or their parts in the form of fossils is known as fossilization. To explain the process of fossilization, two theories have been put forward. Now, what are these theories? Let us put them one by one. There are two of these theories of fossilization. One is replacement theory, and the other is infiltration theory. In replacement theory, the fossilization takes place by the replacement of the molecules of original substances of the organism one by the molecules of minerals in the soil solution. Looking at the infiltration theory, fossilization occurs as a result of infiltration or getting in and precipitation of minerals through the cell membrane of plant or animal body cells. Now, this brings us to the types of fossils. The main types of fossils we are looking at are as follows. Let us look at them one by one. Petrification. Fossil formed by petrification. These fossils preserve both external forms and internal structures of animals and plants. Let us look at the diagram. These fossils preserve both external and the internal structures of animals and plants. So this is the first kind that we looked at. Now let us quickly look at the second kind of fossils that are formed by compression. These are compression fossils. Let us look at this diagram, the second diagram. This fossil is formed as a result of burial or burying of plants or their parts in sediments. These fossils are used to study external morphology of plants. Now let us quickly look at the third kind of fossil. Fossil formed by incrustation. Incrustation. The diagram, as you see, is here. In these fossils, the external form of the plants are preserved, but internal structures are destroyed during preservation. Let us look at the fourth kind of fossil, which is formed by impression. In the fourth kind of fossil, which we can see in the diagram here, these fossils are formed when an organism or its parts come in contact with soft clay. This is the soft clay. When they come in contact with the soft clay, these are useful in study of external features of organisms. Coming to the fifth kind of fossil, called coal balls. If you look at the diagram here, this is a ball-like fossil called coal ball. These fossils show plant organs of roughly spherical shape in coal. This is a fossil that is preserved in coal. Now, let us quickly look at the second last kind of fossil, which is molds and casts. Now, these fossils show external details of body's shape and size and forms of organisms, as you can see clearly in this diagram. Now let us see the seventh kind of fossils, called unaltered fossils. These fossils are formed as entire animal body gets preserved in ice. If you remember the example of woolly mammoth, which was preserved in ice, then other animals were preserved in petroleum springs and oil soaked ground. So I think for today this is enough. We will follow on with the next video on this. Till then, thank you. All the best.